Right, 6 September 2024. And today I would like to give you my morning update for this Friday. And today I'm going to be very, very quick. I want to quickly look at the announcement by the Zimbabwe government yesterday that they've been formally informed that South Africa is set to deport over 1 million Zimbabweans who are not on the Zimbabwe exemptions permit. So this looks like a very small thing because it's so common. The deportations have been happening for such a long time. But this time it's serious. There is a big push to deport people in South Africa. And the Zimbabwe government says they've started a process of upgrading the Beitbridge and Plumtree receiving centers for refugees. So that is the minister here responsible. She's called Dinha. She has told the newspaper that they are expecting over 1 million Zimbabweans to be deported from South Africa within the short space of time. So this is going to happen within a short space of time. You can check Dinha here. She was speaking in Parliament yesterday. So the Zimbabwe government has failed to improve the situation in the country, resulting in so many Zimbabweans coming up here, down here in South Africa. And the level of deportations are going to get worse because of the Zimbabwe exemptions permit. That permit, most of the people who were on that permit are no longer on that permit, and there's no replacement. So most of the people are expected to leave the country if they do not get a normal permit. So the number of people that are expected to be affected is over 1 million. And you can see how serious the South African government is. The new Minister of Home Affairs is very serious about this. So this is the statement by the Deputy Minister of, I don't know which ministry this is, in Zimbabwe. She was answering questions in Parliament yesterday. And she says over 1 million Zimbabweans are expected back in Zimbabwe. So I don't know how this is going to work. It will be a big move if this was to happen, if all these 1 million people were to be deported into Zimbabwe. So let's see what is going to happen if the South Africans are going to be able to deport 1 million people from South Africa, and what will be the impact of that on the local economy. Then I want to quickly go through some news, starting with this guy here. This guy is trending. He is a Zimbabwean based in Beitbridge. He is trending because he has been arrested for singing songs against Mnangagwa, and he's a security guard at Beitbridge. So I think most of you have not seen the video. I do not know why they would arrest someone for this video. He's called Emmanuel Chiradza, and he was arrested for singing. He's a council worker. He was arrested for singing songs against Mnangagwa. So let's see what he was singing.
Mayusa uya anga uya seku anga harirwa ni masaskamu. Mayusa uya anga uya seku.
Right, so that is the guy. He's actually been arrested right now for this video, and he's trending all over Zimbabwe. Very interesting that some guy who works at council can do this, and police have arrested him for insulting Mnangagwa. So you can go check out, there's a court case right now in Beitbridge over this very issue. And then obviously today's top story is Zimbabwe is playing Kenya in Uganda. And you can see there that the soccer jersey of Zimbabwe is being sponsored by Scott Sakwanya of Better Brands. So I did not know that Better Brands is now sponsoring the Zimbabwe soccer team, but this is what's happening. Scott Sakwanya is now sponsoring the Zimbabwe national soccer team. And today in the afternoon, they're going to be playing against Kenya. And then after a few days, about 4 days, they're going to be playing Cameroon in Uganda. Then going into rail, there is a story that is going around. And this is that Grindrod has now been given permission to use the railways of the NRZ. So the railways infrastructure of the NRZ. And Grindrod is a logistics company that is based in Durban. So they have been given access because the NRZ is failing to make use of their own infrastructure. They've moved 2.8 million tons last year, and they say that the Grindrod is going to take up the difference of the minerals. And this amount of about 200,000 tons, which is going to be moved by Grindrod, is going to be moved using these 3 wagons. So I think Mnangagwa has failed to get the rail and is now giving it to companies like Grindrod to run in Zimbabwe. This is crazy because rail is so big in all other African countries, especially passenger rail. But in Zimbabwe, it's not working. And you can clearly see that this is not going to pick up under Mnangagwa. We have to wait for the next guy who's going to come to pick this up. Then Dynamos is going to be playing in Botswana because we do not have a stadium in Zimbabwe. All the Zimbabwean teams are playing outside the country. So Dynamos is going to be playing in Francistown on the 14th, and then on the 22nd, they're going to be playing Orapa over there, a Botswana team. So they're going to be playing a local team at their own home ground. This is so bad. I don't know how the Zimbabwean guys are failing to fix the stadiums to CAF standards, but this is what is happening. All our teams are playing outside the country. And then in Kenya, Ugandan sprinter Rebecca Cheptegei, here, you saw her running on the Olympics. She has been killed by her boyfriend who set her on fire. And the guy is called Discksn Ndiema. He's also in hospital after he set himself up on fire. So this is world trending. Female sprinter has been killed. She died after sustaining pains. The guy came and poured petrol over the both of them and set it on fire over a dispute on land. They were fighting over land in Kenya. So she's Ugandan living in Kenya, and she has died in a hospital over there. Then Bank ABC has announced the appointment of Tawanda Mnaiwa as the managing director of Bank ABC. So most of the banks in Zimbabwe are making major changes. Tawanda Mnaiwa is coming from Bank ABC Mozambique, where he was MD of the asset management over there. And I think I went to this guy at Trust Bank. I can't remember, like 2000, and he was there at the same time I was at Trust Bank. Then let's look at Kreston Zimbabwe. Nice company here. They're celebrating 10 years as an audit firm, and they've shown up there. People, you can check out their celebrations on all the major newspapers, and they are promoting the company here. They've got branches in Zimbabwe and in Zambia, and it's very rare to see a company, an accounting firm that goes for this long. But what I wanted to mention was what they said, that most Zimbabweans in this field are leaving the country. They've started leaving the country. They've lost a huge number of employees because most of these guys are going overseas or going to work online. So if you're in Zimbabwe, look at that trend. How are other people working online? You don't have to leave Zimbabwe to work overseas. So what the director here said, that is Modern Mutuma. He was talking to the newspaper, I think that was Newsday. He said a lot of these people that are leaving are working online. So if you're in Zimbabwe, you don't have to physically leave the country. Figure out how to work online. You can make a lot of money working online, but it's for you to figure out. I don't know how other people are doing it from Zimbabwe, but there is a lot of online work, remote work over there, and going overseas is not easy. Yeah, it was good to go, let's say, to the UK 10 years ago, but right now going to the UK is not a good thing. You're going to struggle. You're going to suffer when you go over there. So find a way of doing it from Zimbabwe. And also, there are so many other things that you can do in Zimbabwe. Then Kama Billiard's jersey has sold. It has sold for $120,000 US. This is because there was a stampede to buy his jersey by people from the PhD Ministers Church, and they've not disclosed who paid that $120,000, but it's one guy who's in the mining sector. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Scott Sakupanya, because he's the one who's doing all these things in soccer. Scott Sakupanya implicated in riverbed mining today. You can see that he's been in the news for riverbed mining. He has not stopped mining at Penalonga, and there's a news story about it. But he is probably the guy who bought this jersey for $120,000, which is about 2 million rands. Then I want to wrap this up. Let's see if there's anything that I've forgotten. There is nothing, no update on the story of Anavesta Mdiwa. I think she's still in jail. And you can see that today the trending story is cholera outbreak is back in Bulawayo and in Harare. So there is cholera. If you're in Harare or Bulawayo, be careful. You might end up in a lot of trouble with cholera. So let's recap and wrap this up. We said South Africa is set to deport over 1 million Zimbabweans, and the Zimbabwean government have been formally informed. There is a minister, the deputy minister, who has said, that is Dinha, speaking in parliament, that the Zimbabwe government is expecting to receive at least 1 million Zimbabweans from South Africa, who have announced that they will be carrying out a mass deportation of those who are not on the Zimbabwe exemptions permit. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. The new Minister of Home Affairs in South Africa is very serious about this process of deportations. Do not take such announcements lightly. So when you make your plans, if you are not on a permit in South Africa, plan carefully. Make sure that you don't get caught up in these deportations, because it can suddenly fall upon yourself. You might find yourself working in a construction site. You see what they've been doing. They've been going to construction sites. They've been going to restaurants. And you might find yourself one day just being one of those people that are deported back to Zimbabwe. So start making plans. If you're not on a permit, to regularize your permit. Talk to people who know how to deal with these kind of things. I think there are guys that are well known in the space who can advise you on how to formalize your stay in South Africa. Don't stay without a permit in South Africa thinking things are going to be normal the way you've been staying without a permit. Just assume that when someone says 1 million people are going to be deported, that you're one of those people. If you don't have a permit, will be affected. So I see most guys that when they hear such a statement, they just take it for granted. But this time, I think it's way different. So this afternoon, we're also going to be looking at the burial of Sifiso Dabengwa. Not the burial was on Sunday. So today is the service. So the memorial service is today in the afternoon, and I'll try to stream that if I manage to get a signal. Then, as we said, Frank Buyanga is submitting his court papers today in South Africa. So massive number of stories taking place. And you see, the story of Frank Buyanga is sad because he is been in jail for such a long time. And this guy is not a criminal. He's just an unfortunate billionaire who got arrested in South Africa after crossing the Mnangagwa family. You can check out all the stories that I have done on Frank Buyanga. And as I promised, I'm going to look for that video with his ex-girlfriend and baby mama, which I did about two years ago, so that you can get a context of why they had a fight over that baby or that kid who is been taken to South Africa. And that resulted in his arrest. So Bishop Nyamakanga still in jail. Timber still in jail. And Namataya Kwekwenza has not spoken. I haven't seen her speaking since she got released. So we'll be watching all that, and I'll give you updates whenever there is news about all these things. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'll see you guys in the evening, 10 minutes past 9 every night. I will give you guys an update. And thank you very much, and a good